we're gonna see. So the sandbox is here. So as you can see, you have three pieces of text that are loaded from separate files. So here's the first file. So just an HTML file, basic. Second file is some JSON. And the third file is an XML file. So to get over how to load it with Ajax, so I did my research on W3 School, and so this piece of text loads content from a file with Ajax on the when the page is ready. So when the page is finished loading, the Ajax gets run and starts getting content for it. So I have 3 times the same kind of piece of code because I have 3 files. At first I used the button and you could select one at a time, and then I realized that it was not only Ajax but also DOM manipulation, so that's why I changed it to load when the page is finished loading. So first you create this XML HTTP request, which is the way Ajax is called. And so then load your function, which is called ready state change, so when the page is ready. So if the page is ready, if the page is ready, you select your element in which you want to put the content, and you send it the response from the server, so from the remote server. Sorry. And what it does, it's opening the file and send its content to the request. And then you get this. I don't know if you have any questions. I know that it may not be really a really developed presentation, but I didn't feel like there was a lot of things to say, at least for the first time. So
what's the advantage of using Ajax?
Sorry, can you repeat?
What is the advantage of using Ajax?
Well, with Ajax, you don't have to reload your page.
Okay.
That's the main advantage. So, like, you can click a button and get content from anywhere.
So it calls to the server without refreshing the page?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. I think I've understood that about Ajax before. So you had 3 separate files that you were calling from to pull those lines. It looked like you were HTML, JSON, and what else were you pulling from?
It's an XML.
Oh, XML. Okay.
XML, yeah.
Can you show us those files again?
So this is the XML file. Maybe you need to like do this. It's better for reading. So you have an XML file here, which just contains a piece of text. So it's really basic. The JSON file and the HTML file, which just contains a p tag. So nothing complicated here.
What happens if you put something more than just a paragraph or a text in those?
Well, we can do that. Second paragraph if you want. Sure.
Will it just print whatever is on there? Would it print a whole page?
For the HTML, it will basically add the HTML content to your page. So it's not gonna you won't be able to see the tags because it's getting it as HTML, and it's adding HTML inside an HTML file. Where you can see the difference is for the JSON file. As you can see, it's printing the whole JSON string and not just hello, I'm a JSON file. So not just a piece of text, it's printing the whole string.
Okay.
Can you
No,
manipulate your code from those files?
Can you manipulate?
Yeah, like can you I don't know, grab an array and sort it and such?
Now, if I could eventually show you what I've planned for next week, and you can, because I used Ajax and the manipulation in it. So you have this, and I went back on the manipulation, and then I'm using Ajax here when I click on proceed. I'm using Ajax to bring this text, and then I can still manipulate. But it's a plan for next week, so. But yeah, basically you can have anything. The only thing I suggest is that you don't get any JavaScript in the page you're loading with Ajax, because it won't be loaded. At least I don't think it will. I think I tried and it didn't work, because when you try to load a JavaScript file with Ajax, you need to do some special manipulations to get it to be loaded. So here I just added an image tag. Even if it's empty, it should show up somehow in the HTML section. So let me see that logically if we inspect. Yes, yeah, here you have the image tag that I added. Do you have any other questions?
So is that the main purpose of Ajax then, is just to make calls to other pages, or is there other functionality that you could find other than just calling other files?
Well, it's often used to get some JSON and manipulate it after that. So just Ajax will get you able to get content from an external source. So you can, what I'm mostly using it at work is, for example, to get the content of some Google Docs in a JSON format, and then I can be able to manipulate my page according to what I get in the content I just loaded with Ajax.
So it is that. So calling other pages, that's the main functionality of Ajax.
Yeah. Its only purpose, I think, is to make call to other servers, and it can also be used to save data in databases, for example.
Yeah, because like how our web developer explained it kind of to me, and I hope I'm understanding Ajax right, is he was saying like maybe on an e-commerce site, you're checking out, you're going to purchase something, and it's making calls to make sure the product's still there, like it's still available. And so it'll make calls. It's not going to refresh every time. It's just going to make calls and go grab the information and bring it back and make sure that things are there. And that's kind of how I understood it. It's making calls constantly to make sure and bringing data back without
Yeah.
really knowing it's doing kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah, kind of. I also use it on my portfolio to call my header and my footer on all of my pages because it's quite nice. It works well. This never changes, so you can use it to do some to do an MVC approach even if you don't have any server-side technologies active. So Ajax basically allows you to get some server-side content in your front end. Any other questions?
Does it load the entire file, or can you just load like one paragraph from it?
No, when you load a file with Ajax, you load the entire file. You can't load only one paragraph because it doesn't read the file line by line or anything. It reads the whole file. It gets you everything, and then you can select if you want only one piece of it. You can just select this piece. But
Okay.
any other questions?
If I think we're all good, then good job, Silver. I think that Adam, you're doing DOM, right?
DOM manipulation, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna stop sharing then.
All right, are we ready to go?
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Already.
Let me share my screen real quick. Just real quick. Sorry. So I wanted to do a lot more with DOM, but I kind of ran out of time, so I just kind of went with a basic demo, unfortunately. It's all tangled up in cords. All right. So we already did DOM manipulation. We're going to look into it again now. Kind of a refresher on what DOM is. DOM is basically any modification of the document, which is your HTML page itself. It's what's called a W3C standard, which just means World Wide Web standard, so that way it works very well with all the different internet browsers that are out there. Like I said, defines a standard for accessing documents. And it's a platform and language neutral interface that allows programs and scripts to dynamically access and update the content, structure, and style of a document. So that way, if you have a form that you want to fill out, as soon as you fill out the form and you click send, that document or the web page is going to know what to do next and what text to pop up next. Like, let's say, after you fill out the form, it then says, "Thank you for filling this out." That's all DOM right there. So HTML property of all HTML elements, the methods to access all HTML elements, and the events for all the HTML elements. So basically anything that you want to do with your JavaScript or whatever you want to get rid of or add, that's what DOM is. Basically, short and simple, DOM is the standard of how you get, change, add, or delete HTML elements. So there's multiple different things you can do to manipulate, or ways you can manipulate your content. And here's just the list. I gave you a few examples in this list, and then after that I just kind of bunched it all together because I think there's 18 different things you can do, or 21, somewhere in there. So one of the things you can do to manipulate is after, which is insert content after each of the matched elements. So if you want, for example, some text to come in after a certain image or a certain other string of text that are up there, you would use the after. There's append, and then here's the rest of them. So you have append to, before, clone, empty, HTML val, or just normal HTML, insert after, insert before, prepend, remove, replace all, and all the rest of them right there. Some of them will work with the elements, some of them will just work with the HTML. Whatever you want to do is basically depends on which one you're going to use. And finally, we'll go into my example here. I'm going to show you first. Looks like I'm going to actually just show you the web page first because I forgot. I had to reset my computer, so it means NetBeans is not open yet. So while that's opening in the background, we'll go to my web page here. So what I'm having this image, or I'm sorry, what I'm having this web page do is as soon as I click the try it button, what it's going to do is it's going to show the use map attribute of the image, which is all back in the code that I'll show you here in just a second. So when you click on try it, simple enough, it pops up hashtag globe, which is where the use map attribute is located. I was hoping to do something a lot cooler, kind of ran out of time. It's been a busy week. With work and then also with catching up in other classes. So now it's not opened yet, so any questions while I'm waiting for that to open so I can show you what the code looks like?
Nope.
It's pretty straightforward stuff. Guess I can just probably inspect the elements instead. So I'll make this bigger. So to begin with, you have your image ID. So image ID is globe. Then I created a map name for it so that way I'd be able to pull the actual script, which is right here. So your image, your map to map the location, and then your on-click button to tell it, hey, when you click this, here's what we want to do. And so to manipulate it, we go button unclip my function. My function's in the script, so we create a function here, and what we had to do was we told it to get element ID, globe, which is our picture, and where is it? Oh, sorry, and right here it tells you we have the dot use map, which that's going to ask us, or ask the computer, okay, where is this use map located at? And as you can see back up here in the image ID and search, it's all right here, use map, hashtag globe, which is what pops up when you hit try it. And that's DOM manipulation, pretty much. There's tons of things you can do with it, and it's actually a lot of fun to mess with.
Awesome, thank you.
All right.
Yep. It's kind of hard when you already have something that's been taught, finding new things about it.
Well, some of these topics are pretty complicated, so that'll be nice to
Yeah.
get the basics and then add to it. At least complicated for me.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking for my presentation next week on DOM, I will add to it by mixing it with something else.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, Brother James has chatted. Yeah,
Oh, looks like he'll be coming on next.
hopefully so. Got our invite. Oh, I'll try and invite him again. I'm just waiting for Brother James. I sent another invite. Oh, here we go.
Ah.
Are you there?
Me?
Hi.
Oh, you guys. I was looking
Hello.
at the wrong device.
Well, we've actually just finished our topic, so it's the perfect time, if you'd like, to talk about the best way, to set up our app and what you recommend and kind of step-by-step of how we can get started.
Sure. What app have you chosen? Have you sent me your proposals? Have I looked at them?
Yeah,
I
you
don't
set up,
remember.
and then we decide on the Health Score application.
The help what?
The Health Score application.
Okay. So you wanted to have some ideas of how to approach it and develop it as a team. Is that what you're
Yes.
looking for tonight?
Yeah. So ideas of best approach it and how to break it up and what is. I mean, we just don't even. I don't think that. I don't really have an idea of just how to attack it.
Well, you have the great blessing of having a rather large team. That can also be a bit of a problem. So you've got an application that's going to have some CSS, local storage, and AJAX and DOM work going on. And sometimes those happen in the same file, so it's difficult to have multiple people working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the more successful large team projects I had last semester, they broke up into sub-teams, and one group worked on the JavaScript, and another team, another pair of programs worked on the user interface, what the CSS should look like. And that was probably the ideal size for teams are actually three or four students. But if I did that, then I would have way too many teams to pay attention to. So that's unfortunately why we have the larger teams. So this gives you the opportunity to do some pair programming.
Oh, that's right. He's champion too.
So if a couple of you are the more experienced graphic arts people and feel more comfortable doing the transitions and the look and feel, and those of you who are more programming oriented want to tackle the little story in the JavaScript, that's one way to go about doing it. With this big of a team, I think pair programming is probably the best, and that's a great way to do it. It's a great experience to pair program anyway. Some of the things you need to decide on before you start programming, and of course you shouldn't start programming yet. You've got another couple of weeks of educating each other on the different topics. And is to start doing a preliminary design. How are we going to use local storage? What would we put into local storage? What are some of the transitions that we could do? How will we use the Ajax to have a single page user interface? So take each of the areas of the application and kind of think of them as you're doing the training and how you could implement that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Does anybody here on the team have experience with use cases?
Sorry, with what?
With use cases?
Like user testing? Is that what you're asking?
That's kind of what I'm doing this. That's kind of what I'm doing this semester. I'm taking the human-computer interaction class this semester.
I was thinking somebody was asking. All right. A use case is where you take a user action, and your application is going to have 2 or 3 at the most use cases where you're going to accomplish a particular set of tasks. And as you look at the use case of the user is going to come to the application, this information is going to be displayed. They are going to enter this information, and then the screen will transition to another state. It would be a good exercise to think about just the steps that a person would go through with their application. What screens they're going to see, what data they're going to have, and maybe you've got some of that already thought out. But as you do that, it forces you to go through a little mini design process. So that would be when you get around week 8, maybe week 7, but probably week 8, because I want you to make sure you understand the topics. That's when you can start coming up with more of the workflow of your application. And then that helps you also decide how you might divide it up between team members.
I guess as a team lead, skill sets we have and who needs to do what.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. I apologize if my connectivity here is bad. I'm in a hotel in Washington, D.C., and I'm a little disappointed in the Wi-Fi that they've got. So I'm doing my best to figure out what you're saying.
That's okay. My husband travels a lot too, and he said the internet's always awful in hotels. His phone usually gives him better hotspot than the hotel internet.
I considered switching over to my phone. So.
Yeah, he usually does. No, I was saying, so we just need to, as a team, kind of figure out our skill sets and decide how we want to divide up the different portions of the project.
And I think that's a good idea. Out when you're in a professional environment or a sports environment, you put your best person in the ideal spot. So if somebody's better with CSS, put them on that. If somebody is more better, I sound like Donald Trump. If you have better skills in JavaScript, have somebody work on that. So use your strengths in this case.
Okay. And then, so we start on week 8, and we have clear through week 14 to finish, or when do we have to have it done by?
Well, on officially in the syllabus, you start working on week 9, and so you have weeks 9, 10, 11, and 12.
We only have 4 weeks to get it done.
Right. And then the last week is course conclusion week. And it depends on how you count your weeks. They have a course introduction week, which is a week 0.
Yeah.
And so that's, I use the numbering that they have in the gradebook. 9 through 12 is the application development, and course conclusion week is when you put it all together. You put your final reflection together.
Okay. Okay.
What is our audience for this app?
I didn't catch that, Slater.
What is our audience for this app?
Oh, audience. So the health certification is for people who are trying to, and I don't know actually that it's geared necessarily towards men or women. I hadn't thought about it as far as that much. It's just people in general who are trying to live a healthier lifestyle and help this track them. But we can, I mean, as a team, we can decide if we want to gear it towards, a certain demographic, a certain age group, right?
Because I think that's what we can work on right now. If we can't start working on the actual coding, we can work on getting all the plan for the rest. So how we will design it, what our audience expects, etc. All this stuff which is going before programming. Because when you start programming, this needs to be done already.
Yes, I agree. I think that it's something we should talk about here in the next meeting or so and decide, demographics, design, whatever we want to do that way. So that's all ready to go, and then we just have to code it.
Any other questions for me?
Yeah, I would have one. I think I missed a couple assignments. What will be the repercussions of it?
Sorry, say that again. You're talking about assignments.
Yeah, I think I missed a couple assignments, and how badly will it harm my grade? Because
the big thing that I look at, the code topics. Well, in fact, let me. I have the code, the grade book up right now. On the grade book, there's a tab there called Course, and those 5 areas are the only ones that really contribute to your grade. There's the code topics, the team application, professionalism, professional scheduling, and your final reflective journal submission.
okay.
Now, during the weeks 2 through 12, you've got assignments to turn in, and primarily what you're doing there is telling me your code topics that you worked on that week. You might give me a link to the team video where you did the training. And from there, I learned a couple of things. One, that you're actually turning your assignments in. If I see students not turning in their assignments during the week and making some effort to communicate to me what they've been doing, if they are not doing that, then in my mind they're losing points. Well, in professionalism, you're not trying to tell your supervisor, your boss, or your instructor what you're working on. So that hurts you in the professionalism, and it also, that's how you communicate to me what code topics that you're working on. So.
And how do we submit these? Because I'm not sure I understand how we submit these code topics things.
You're not sure that you understand what?
How we submit it.
Oh, well, you just go to the grade book. You go to the assignment there in the grade book. Let's see, this is week 5, right, I think? So you go to iLearn, and go to
Yeah.
the grade book. And we are on week 5 right now, and because of my great bandwidth here, it's taking a while to bring up the page. You click on that week's assignment, and for instance, week 5, it gives you explicitly a place to post your sharing video, a place to give me a link to your portfolio that you're working on for your code topics. And then there's just some placeholders there that says, yes, I did everything I was supposed to do. And so you just go click on those. This is week 5, and you tell me, give me that information. Show me that you've been teaching, and show me that you've been working on your code topics. Hang on just a second here. Let me show you. Just let me switch the camera around. Okay, so there's everybody. Everybody's got an F in the class. and hopefully that's coming out. So here's week 5. And those are the assignments that should be turned in for this week. I'm going to go to the course. I'll try and be careful to not show people's particular grades there. So hang on a second. You're seeing my lovely bedroom here in the hotel. Okay, it's slowly coming up. So here are the code topics. This is what I grade officially for the class. And this is where I take what you show me in your code portfolio, and then from there, when you give me a link to code portfolio, I will bring this up here, and depending on how well, can you read that?
Not really.
Here, let me. Okay, just a second. Let me get the screen to turn around. Let me. So when you work on JavaScript or JSON, parse, and stringify, this is where I enter your grades for your progress there.
This is my question, because like looking at those grade topics, they don't match up with like the main 9 topics. So until I saw that, I didn't realize I was supposed to be doing those exact things with the topics. They should quite align.
I believe there's 2 differences. I think in the code topics they talk about having a mobile user interface and a software development process. But the rest of them are, the CSS is all grouped into 2 categories. It's the transitions, transformations, and animations. Those show up all in one category. And triggering those CSS activities with JavaScript is another one. So that's what your grade is going off of. This is what the grade book calculates for your final grade, at least in the code topics. And you have access to, you see this on your grade book, do you not?
I do, but I guess that's why I was confused when I saw it. I was like, that doesn't match the 9 topics. I've been working on this other stuff, and now I see this, and it's way different than what I thought I was working on. So, I mean, I'll match it to that, but I'm just saying, when I started working on stuff, that's what I was looking at, or I was wasn't seeing that. I didn't realize I needed to fill those topics.
Okay.
So personally, I don't see the grade book.
You don't see what?
The grade book.
In iLearn, here, let's, now I'm not sure what your view looks like in iLearn. Let me switch my screen around again here.
I can share my screen, and so you can see what I can see when I'm on iLearn.
Okay. See here in iLearn in the top left-hand corner, the course menu.
Yeah.
That's where the grade book is.
So it's great.
And I assume that for you, you see this information along the top here, where there's week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and where's my mouse at? So here on week 5.
Well, and ours looks a lot different on our end than what yours.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't see that. I mean, if you look at my screen share, you can see that I'm seeing something completely different.
But Severe, if you go to the home screen and look under gradebook activity and see what he's graded, and like click on where, if you go back to home screen, gradebook activity, click on where he's graded your submissions so far. You open that up, you'll see that same like breakdown.
So here,
Yeah, so then go to where he's graded your stuff and click on it on the gradebook activity under that box. Find where he's graded any of your submissions and you'll be able to see it.
like if I click here,
I'm not seeing it. You're gonna pop it up. So has it been graded? Have you had anything graded? On the bottom, gradebook activity.
oh, okay.
Do you see it? Has he graded anything for you there?
Not recently.
So like when I do it, if I see what he's graded there, I can click on that. It'll pop it open, and I can look at the details, and then I can see those breakdowns that he's showing of the different topics, and then like what our score was, agree, disagree, all of that. I can see that.
For example, if I take this, I can see that there's a grade here. That's what you mean?
Go ahead and can you hit details and see that shows you. So, unless submission, maybe submission history might show you. Try clicking on that. No, that doesn't work. No, that's not it.
Click on the course menu in the top left-hand corner.
Very, very top, the dark gray box. Is that what you're saying, Dark James?
Yes,
Dark gray box.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Okay, and there, click on grades. Let's see what that. And I can see I have not graded anything of yours. Oh, well. Let's see. Well, and perhaps this is some of the disconnect that I've got. How do you turn in your assignments?
Well, I
Those
don't
of you
know.
who are turning them in,
So
is this?
That's why I'm asking, because I have no idea.
it just gives you like a box, and then I just type in my link and then some notes. I mean, like the link to my site or the link to my code, and then just some notes and hit submit. I mean, it's really just like a box where you upload There's not really anything fancy for it. Yeah, and that's it. There's not much to it besides that.
So iLearn, does iLearn remind you of assignments that you've got to turn in each week?
Yes. But it's funny because it's just a mark as complete, but then it has a box that forces you to upload it. So, I mean, you're forced to do something with it. If you're going to complete it, you're forced to open it and enter something.
And that's where you give me the links to your portfolio or to your training videos.
So if you click open, and then you're able.
Basically, my portfolio is always the same address. So do
I
you
did
need?
not hear your question.
So do I need here to post again the address of my portfolio?
And I apologize, that's not coming. Can somebody hear that better than perhaps I am?
I can't hear.
So do I need to update, to post each week the address of my portfolio?
Yeah, I upload my URL every week, and then just tell them what I've been working on.
Yes, that's all I want to hear about is what you worked on this week. I don't want to have a link to everything. I just want to see the things that have changed, and then that way I can go into the gradebook and improve your score on local storage or on Ajax.
I see. I think now it's starting to make more sense for me.
Okay.
Yeah, right now I had absolutely no idea what I was supposed to do, and that's kind of really weird. And so for the weekly reflection, it's what we should post on the on the community on Google Plus, right?
Your weekly reflection is supposed to go in your journal. People keep posting on there, but they're not really supposed to. They're supposed to. I mean, they can post on other topics, but your weekly reflection is your weekly journal that you should be keeping for yourself.
That is correct. Those private reflections where you think about what you were learning, you save those, and then you kind of put them all together the last week of the semester to talk to me about what you've learned and how you've changed your understanding of your learning process.
Okay.
So each week you ought to be posting to the objectives on the class community where you give some insight into JavaScript or CSS or a website that's been helpful to you. You do that on the class community. So that's publicly. And then privately, you're keeping a record of your observations about yourself. I learned this about myself on how I can work better in a team or how I can pick up new topics. And then also weekly, you should be telling me I worked on a new code topic and I want you to grade this, and here's the link to that page for me to go look at. No GitHub links. Do not send me GitHub. I am still seeing way too many GitHub links here a third of the way through the class.
See the working code, the code in action. That I understood. Yeah, it wasn't clear. So basically, if I send you what I got, like if I send you the address to my website, you can see what I worked on since the beginning of the course. But I don't remember when I worked on what because I didn't submit it through because I didn't know how to submit.
All right. I think what I was hearing you talk about was that you're going to be giving me links that show me what you've been working on. I want to see your code do something. I don't want to see it in GitHub. I want to see an active web page.
So, okay, so I'm gonna send you the link to my portfolio, You will be able to see all that I've worked on since the beginning of the class because we didn't get anything yet.
That'll be
After
great.
that, I will
Post
send it
that.
quickly.
Post that in the grade book, and that way I have access to it, and I'll keep track of your website.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Any other questions?
Not at the moment.
I'm good.
I've got another team that is meeting here, and I'm going to go join with them. Unless you've got any other questions.
Yes,
Thank you for helping.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I hope I helped. And I think my misunderstanding of what the students see in the grade book is different than what I've been thinking. So I need to make sure that I am helping you know what you need to turn in. So yeah, those weekly assignments are very important. They tell me that you're working and contributing to your team. All right. Good night from your nation's capital. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Good night.
We could probably. Do we have any more presentations?
No, I think we're done. Actually, half of us have dropped off. So I think though next week we need to talk about like how we want to break up the app, and also like maybe in the meantime we can all start thinking of like who our demographic should be, anything we think would be great in the design, and then like how we want to break up, and then we can discuss it next week. And I'll put that on the discussion board, and then everyone can just kind of think about it for next week, and we can discuss it.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right, I'll see you guys on next week, and I'll post the video.
All right, have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
All right, thank you.